We need Thanos to snap and get rid of half of all life in the world as we know it, in my opinion.
Yes.
Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome to this great slapdick session. I will say, though, on a positive note, that was the quickest pre-talk we ever had before we started.
Because I couldn't. For those that don't know, every week you wonder why our podcast fucking sucks. I'm sorry, there's going to be a lot of cursing this week. But we waste all the good shit talking to each other before we press record. I took a vow of silence until Steve hit record today.
Well, secretly I record without recording, so it's going to be a audio book one day.
So could I start calling you Steve the Government Kachevsky, just constantly taking our data?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm selling it.
He's actually selling it to ads right now, Brad.
Good.
Every click that you click is going to be an ad.
Or an NFT.
It's about time.
I want it to sell for $80 million, and it's going for $8,000.
$80 million.
But I just get my information from Joe Rogan. That's all that happens.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Obviously, a subject matter expert on everything.
Would you listen to him or the guy that looks like me? I'm going to listen to Joe Rogan.
No. JB is shorter than you, and he's as wide as you are tall, Steve.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's like a bowling ball.
Yeah.
He's
if
like
you've ever seen
Drew back in the
day. He is. Yeah. Thighs for days.
Who, Joe Rogan?
Yeah. He's pretty stout, dude.
I wouldn't mess with him.
The coolest set of kettlebells ever made. There's ones that look like
gorillas.
Great apes. Yeah.
That's another hot topic, but that's for another.
Yeah, that's not a sports podcast.
Especially if you listen to Tim Dillon's new podcast today.
Oh, I listened to it on the way home today.
I'm not trying to bring attention myself, but never, ever get the vaccine, Tim J. Dillon at Twitter. That's where you can come.
I'm not just doing this to get people to subscribe to my channel.
Well, if you go to timjdillon.comedy.com, there's my merch, there's this, there's that. You can find me live.
Okay, Okay, are we going to jump into the draft thing?
Yeah, because we've already told each other to F off like 7 times.
Yeah. So, obviously, we're going to talk about the Bears stuff.
Yep.
Is there anyone else's draft that was just either really, really good or really, really bad?
I didn't pay attention as much.
The Eagles. I thought it was interesting everybody pairing each other with the college teammates.
Yeah. Which really, I feel like doesn't work very often.
Right. But it'll be interesting. We'll know because Burrow has Jamar Chase now.
Which I love that.
Yeah.
Tua
has Waddle. And Jalen Hurts has Devontae Smith.
Mm-hmm. Which I didn't understand. I would have taken Devontae Smith over Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
Miami. Because you already have a speed guy there in what's his nuts that played in Texas forever. Kendall Fuller.
Fuller.
Yeah. Whatever Kyle. Fuller sibling.
Yeah. One of the Fullers.
Yeah.
And then ATN getting drafted by the Jaguars to stay with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, which was weird because James Robinson rushed for 1,300 yards on a shit team.
So they were saying that they're going to use ETN as more of a almost more of a receiver in that offense. Kind of like Ohio State used to do where they run basically that shark wheel route kind of consistently and use him as a vertical threat out of the backfield, which actually is how he was used in college.
And it's why he went back to school, was to prove he was more of a receiving threat anyways.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Well, that was fun.
A lot more civil than right before.
I think we all just had to get on and say "fuck you" to each other, and we'll see you soon,
Yes.
and then get over it.
Well, because it's just how I feel with every person who's a fan of Justin Fields. How the hell are you going to talk shit about him for how long? And then, oh, he's the saving grace to an organization that'll win 3 games this year.
And I love how Matt Nagy said, we drafted, now we have to develop them. What were you doing the past 3 years?
Well, he needed Mitch just like he needs Justin. I'm going to sit here and say he needs Justin Fields, so he's going to put him in positions to be successful. Now, does that mean that we're going to win games? No, but he'll be somewhat successful. We've seen this once before.
Who are we talking about?
Nagy and his development of quarterbacks, or lack thereof.
Because did you see him say, we drafted, now we have to develop? And my question was, what would you do in the last 3 years? You're supposed to be this offensive guru, this quarterback guru thing, and you did okay in 2018, and then you went away from everything you did in 2018 and just, I don't know, you screwed the pooch.
Well, it was pretty obvious this past year. They just had zero confidence in Mitch. Like, he had a good rookie year, and then, well,
he had a good second year.
Second year.
Yeah.
That first year was doomed from the start.
Well, I think they were trying not to play him, but then Fox was like, okay, I have to play him, but I'm going to put him in the most safe thing ever, and he's just going to hand the ball off. Not just twice, but 3 times in a row.
And you know what I don't understand? Dow Loggins, who was the offensive coordinator that year, immediately got another job and has been good.
It's funny how that works, how you lose your job as an offensive coordinator and he never called an offensive play.
Who would have thought?
Well, hell, we had that Helfrich guy.
Who I loved.
And you're telling me he can't call offense?
I don't know. Well, okay. So here's why I was okay with the Fields thing.
Okay.
We talked about this, 2 weeks ago? Why don't quarterback needy teams just pick one every year or every other year? Most guys, by year 2 if they're good.
Right.
Right? Fuck it. Just keep rolling the dice. And you know what? I don't like the fact Ohio State doesn't have a good track record with quarterbacks. They don't at all.
Nope.
But
But we got to remember he's from Georgia,
and he couldn't beat out Jake Fromm.
Also,
he was at Georgia.
Great track record with quarterbacks. But
he couldn't beat out Jake Fromm. He was at Georgia.
I don't understand. At least we tried. They put something out there. They traded up, and they had to give away a hell of a lot less than the 49ers did.
True.
Right? To get the 3rd best quarterback in the class.
But why was he sliding?
I don't know. I think some teams got freaked out by that Ohio State offense is kind of a vertical passing attack. In my opinion, right? And I think his decisions on film look like they take a long time to develop. How much of that's Ohio State's offense and how much of that is Justin Fields, I don't know. I also know that he's probably 2 to 3 times the athlete that Mitchell Trubisky is. And I think he will be a hell of a runner right off the bat. So that immediately brings his floor up to me.
But
right?
What happens when Matt Nagy tries to make him a pocket passer like he did Mitchell Trubisky?
Well, then we fire Matt Nagy.
Because Mitch did just fine when he was running the ball.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we stopped rolling him out.
Well, I mean,
but they're not going to be fired now. All I've seen up until the draft was he needs to go. Then the moment they drafted Justin Fields, they got on their knees. Everybody got on their knees, unzipped him. I was like, we're here to go. Like, that's what happened. Him and Ryan Pace.
It's what Chicago does whenever they have like some sort. I mean, that's the way it was with Khalil Mack. I mean, even I was that way with Khalil Mack. But now I've learned these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just taking shots in the dark. And they just happen to get a guy who fell a little bit. They didn't I don't think they overpaid, but if that is a top 5 pick next year, they overpaid.
True.
Because in trading that, we lost that pick next year, and that could possibly be more valuable than if Justin Fields has to become a top 10 quarterback, because he's not going to be able to have any weapons. Like, Allen Robinson's pissed off. He's out as soon as he doesn't get franchised.
If he comes in, if Fields comes in and he plays to the 15th best quarterback in the league, right? As a rookie, we've seen that happen before.
Yes.
Okay. He comes in, plays to that level on a team that's still not terrible. The actual team around him is not bad. We're not talking like we're not the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're not.
Not yet.
Not yet. But like, you can't tell me that Allen Robinson won't be ecstatic with a middle of the NFL quarterback. That's immediately the best quarterback he's ever played with.
But Allen Robinson's trying to get paid one more time before his other knee goes out.
Oh, no, I get that. I get why he's pissed and he wants his money, and he deserves his money. He's played his ass off in bad Chicago offenses since he got here.
But then again, he shut down in that losing streak. I don't know how close you watch those, but you could tell he toned out. When we started losing real bad,
yeah,
he was just walking off the ball and just kind of, he was a turd. Because I think genuinely he was trying to play his way out, and then we franchised him.
Which is what they do in Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you're a guy that doesn't want to be here? Absolutely. We'd like to keep you.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. At least they're taking the shot. And I'd rather have him over Mac Jones, who I think Mac Jones is the child of a offense with NFL starters in college. I don't care if it's the SEC. He had 2 what should have been top 10 picks as his 2 receivers.
But he put up the production he had to do. When did he ever have an off game?
Oh, no, I'm not saying, like, he had a great year. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, like, the ceiling of Fields is higher than the ceiling of Mac Jones.
How?
I think Mac Jones is limited in his arm strength. He makes good decisions with football. Like, he's a facilitator type, which is good. A lot of offenses want that. A lot of West Coast guys want that. He went to the perfect team.
Yeah.
Going to the Patriots, that Patriots offense is mostly crossing routes and quick reads, which is like Justin Fields' thing that he does. Or no, not Mac Jones's thing that he does. Like, I think he has the ability to be really good there. I think he would have gotten his shit stomped in Chicago because he's not mobile enough to deal with the heat that's going to come from him behind our offensive line. Even though they did stuff to address that in the draft too.
1.
2. They drafted 2 tackles.
Who was the other one?
The tackle
Larry.
Missouri.
Yeah, Larry Borum.
Yeah.
And I did like the wide receiver from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Because I know, Steve, you and I watched a couple of those North Carolina games. Like, they had some talented receivers.
Right.
Like,
North Carolina actually had 5 draft picks this year.
Which is kind of crazy for North Carolina.
Missouri had 5. Kentucky had 6. Michigan had 8.
Which is crazy because they were so bad.
Alabama and Ohio State had 10, followed by Georgia and Notre Dame. Michigan with 8. LSU 7. Penn State was terrible, and they had 6.
That's why, because I don't know. I knew about their tight end was good, and they had that one edge guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't know a single other player on that team.
Yeah.
And I watched all of that ass kicking that they gave Illinois.
So here's why I'm not thrilled about Justin Fields. 1, so everybody drools over him beating Clemson, and I get that that's a big deal. Does anybody realize that Clemson did not have a defensive player selected in this draft? So they're young. Or not good. One or the other, right? But it's still Clemson. But he destroyed a defense that didn't even have one dude get drafted. Not even like the 7th round. Which, by the way, Dylan Moses not getting drafted. Chicago should have probably got him and let Trevathan go because they're like the same freaking dude. Other than Moses, a little bit smaller.
Did he get picked up?
Yeah. Was it Jaguars or Vikings or somebody?
Okay.
Yeah. So then the next thing, comparing like apples to apples, I don't like giving up because the Bears had so many holes. Giving up pieces to be able to patch the holes. Like even for Tevin Jenkins, I'm okay with Tevin Jenkins at 20. Do I think he's a super value where we got him? Yes, I do. But do I like giving up that 3rd rounder to get him? We kind of needed the 3rd rounder. Okay, and there was still some tackles left that could have helped us. So we could have went like, because here's what I'm looking at, right? So if you look, we stand pat, we keep our people. You could have still had Darisaw at 23, who was a pretty good tackle. And then in the next round, you could have got Trask. Now, here's my thing with Trask. When you look at what Fields did against Alabama, probably with a blown-out hip, versus what Trask did where all of his teammates basically quit on him. He had to go play in an SEC championship game. Fields went 17 of 33 for 1 touchdown. No interceptions. And ran the ball 67 yards, which is pretty damn impressive considering that he was probably playing with something crazy. But then you look what Trask did with no weapons, nobody to hand the ball to, because we've already discussed he didn't have a running back. And then both of his wide receiver options opted out because they weren't playing for a national title spot. So he's not with his 2 top 20 guys, which is a huge miss, right? Because the games, if you look at his production with and without Pitts, totally different person. But against Alabama, basically with the entire team on his back, he goes 26 of 40 for 408 and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. And had 0 yards rushing, but he rushed the ball 15 times. So he got tackled for a loss a lot. And because I remember watching him run the ball and thought to myself, they are going to get this guy killed because he wasn't fast enough to outrun the Alabama defense. So when you compare, those are the only 2 similar opponents they have, right? But then when you look at the conference, Fields' numbers came against Nebraska, Penn State, and Rutgers. When you look, when he had to play against Indiana, had 300 yards passing, cool, but he also gave Indiana life at the end of the game when they tried to give him his moment, and he threw an interception that basically gave Indiana life when they could have kicked the field goal and just iced the game over. Okay, because weren't they up 6 or 7? It was one or the other. 6, kick the field goal, and it's done. The game's done. But they try and make that moment, and knowing that, Fields throws an interception. So then they go and play Michigan State, who's terrible, and he goes 17 to 24. But then he plays Northwestern without their best player because the corner didn't even play. So they're playing one of the more unathletic but most fundamentally sound teams in the Big Ten. He goes 12 of 27, and he's 114 yards in a dome. So perfect weather conditions. No excuse for that. Doesn't have Northwestern shutdown corner playing against them. And he's just playing a fundamentally sound team. I would say Ryan Day's a pretty smart dude, and to think that he couldn't move the ball, let's see, and he only rushed for 35 yards. He averaged 2.9 yards a carry against a vastly, let's be honest here, because we're all Big Ten. We watch the Big Ten. Ohio State's on a different pedestal, and then you have everybody else below as far as athleticism, the athletes, and everything, right? So when they walk onto the field, it's like a high school versus a varsity youth football team already. But then to not get that production, and especially in a Big Ten championship game, got an issue with that. Then you have the Clemson game, which I said they had nobody. And that was really hyped up. And I just think Clemson, they tried to do too much shit, in my personal opinion. And honestly, Fields had the game of his life against them too. He did it when he had to do it. But then he went back out against Alabama and didn't really do much of anything, which is like playing against an NFL defense if you look at the personnel that they have. So I'm just not thrilled when you look at, you got Trask, who ended up, I think, losing to Alabama by 13 or 6. It was a close game with no weapons versus Fields, who went out, and I watched the entire national championship game because I was an Alabama nut hugger just because I love their strength and conditioning. But you look at that, you look at those two things, and it's kind of like, you know.
Florida lost to Alabama 52-46.
So he put up 46 points without his 2 first-rounders on the field.
With Mullen, who likes a running quarterback and was forcing Trask to run a lot.
Yeah.
Because
so
Mullen comes from that Urban Meyer offense and Ryan Day where they want a running quarterback. So they love to spread it out, run, and this and that. Trask is not a runner unless you need a yard. Then you put your head down. I agree with everything you said. I can't add any more.
But I also think like we had some holes. So we could have taken Jenkins at 20, Trask at that, and then kept our picks down the way because we needed a wide receiver and we needed a corner real bad. And yeah, the wide receiver from North Carolina is nice, but you know, if you look, let's see here. Which, by the way, could have had Eichenberg from Notre Dame. You know, he was, let's see. Oh, so the Browns from our pick through the Panthers took the linebacker from Notre Dame. But you had Reduce available. You had another receiver from LSU, which, honestly, they're a receiver factory. Let's be honest here.
It came out he has a medical.
Oh, he does?
Okay. Yeah, he's got a big foot problem. Like, I think he broke his foot in high school, and it came out that it never healed correctly.
Okay. But I just look at what we gave up, and there were some holes we could have filled. Like, you know, we have a guard situation where Whitehair and Daniels can't seem to be on the field at the same time because one of them's almost hurt all the time. And to think that one tackle is going to fix our problem, it might fix his blind side, but I don't know if moving Charles Leno to right tackle fixes an issue.
No, and
he doesn't need to play at all, actually.
Well, Tevin Jenkins played right tackle in college.
Did he?
Yeah.
So, like, where I'm sitting, it's like, if we want somebody to protect our quarterback's backside, why don't we get one of these polished pass protectors from, like, Notre Dame, which Hainsey was available in like the 4th round. Not the first, not Eichenberg, but Hainsey was, but we traded that pick away.
Well, he's converting to inside.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. At the Senior Bowl, he played center.
Oh, okay.
He played good tackle at Notre Dame, but they said his arms are too short. so they're going to move him inside. That was
so then that 4th round pick, we could have had, once again, you have quite a few wide receivers, a couple of lower offensive tackles. We got Borum in the 5th. Okay, I guess. I just think that we had a few more holes we could have filled, but instead they're still kind of open. And that's kind of scary, especially when you have Justin, because let's be honest, they can start Andy Dalton week 1. He'll be out at halftime. Foles will be good for the 3rd quarter, and then he's going to be out. And then we've got one quarterback left on the roster because those guys are about as durable as a porcelain toilet with a hammer swinging at it. So, I would have liked to have seen us, try and get some wide receivers. There was a dude from North Carolina A&T that I was drafting in my like mock drafts that actually was like a 6'4", 220-pound, said he's a highlight receiver, right? He goes up and gets it. Well, we don't have a plan after Allen Robinson leaves because that is inevitable. It's like Thanos. It's inevitable. He's gone. Because 1, we can't give him the money that he wants. And 2, he's been upset with this whole contract thing for 2 years. And to think that Justin Fields is going to be that water under the bridge for him, I think is because Allen Robinson is getting older. He's got one big contract. Not getting this one for 3 or 4 years has put him to where he's got one frame to get it right and make it.
He's going to make a shitload of money this year.
Well, yeah. But, they just don't like that security. What if he makes a shitload of money and blows out his other knee?
No, I get what you're saying. I do.
So, and then everybody's like, oh, we got Mooney. Since when? So here's what boggles my mind with Mooney, right? So he's in a shit offense that basically had to play down the entire season. The only time Mooney really started to open it up was when we were down 20 points, right? So Mooney is 174 pounds at 5'11". Devontae Smith's 165 at 6 foot. Devontae Smith's too small to play in the NFL, and we think this guy's our next number 1 receiver. He's 9 pounds more.
I don't think anyone intelligent is saying that Darnell Mooney is a number 1 receiver.
But those are the same people that are praising Nagy and Pace.
The world's full of idiots. Okay.
But you got to understand how much
I still remember that from Twitter. I haven't been off that long.
Speaking of which, Twitter, if you can get Brad's Twitter handle fixed, get that password.
I'm so ready to be popping off draft stuff, but nope. Thanks a lot, Twitter. You're lost.
I took care of it for you. I told how we hate Justin Fields, and I put the gif of Michael Scott saying, no, God, no.
These are all things that I get the updates like, hey, Steve tweeted. You can see a small little picture of it on this phone, but fuck you if you actually want to open the app.
You have to subscribe to see the full thing.
But yeah, it isn't like I'm sitting here. I really wonder how far Fields slides because I'm pretty sure that New England was settled on Mac Jones. And if you look, the way that draft was going, like I said, you have the Washington football team at 18. But other than that, everybody else is pretty well covered, unless the Raiders maybe, because they had Derek Carr or David Carr or whatever the hell Carr it is now.
Derek.
I don't think the Washington football team will ever draft an Ohio State quarterback again.
And see, that was the other thing I thought was like, so Justin Fields could have possibly slid to us at 20. Because you had the first 3 teams all took their guys, unless the Atlanta Falcons is going to trade up and draft him. But they already passed on him once.
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, once again, Ryan Pace may have traded up when he could have just sat there and got the same freaking person. And nobody wants to look at that. I mean, that's a huge hypothetical what if. But at the same time, the early teams had taken their quarterbacks. You know who took Kyle Trask? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. last pick in the second round.
But that's that's what I didn't get. There was quarterbacks to be picked. So it wasn't like if we just sat there, took an O-line at that first, we didn't trade up, took an O-line, second, third, or fourth round, whatever what came next, we could still get a quarterback, whether it was Fields, Trask.
Because there was a run in the third round to where that kid from Stanford who came out of frickin' nowhere got drafted, and Mond got drafted. They got drafted like the second and the third pick of round 3. But if you look at it, I don't think anybody was going to move up to get Fields that was behind us. I think they all had quarterbacks. That's why they won more games than we did.
The only thing I think there's a chance with all of their draft capital, Detroit might have thought about it.
But they have Jared Goff, right?
Is Jared Goff the answer?
But are you really going to draft a quarterback and worry about paying this rookie quarterback and Jared Goff at the same time?
You know how much money Detroit has right now?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not a need.
That's the second best cap situation in the league.
I would take Jared Goff because he wasn't healthy last year, and he wanted
to slay the coach's girlfriend.
And he wanted to give her the old noodle, the old. That's another thing.
See, there was personal stuff there. Now, do I think Jared Goff's going to have a huge setback? Yeah, because he doesn't have Sean McVay anymore. I think Sean McVay is one of the best offensive minds in pro football. But which now I'm kind of excited for Matt Stafford because the same exact reason. He's now with somebody who can get him in a better passing game.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize the GM in Detroit was previously from LA.
Oh.
So he was a big believer in Goff, and he was like, well,
yeah,
we basically are going to get more than we're giving up to get a quarterback. Why not?
Well, how many first rounders did they get for that? I mean, the Rams don't even have first rounders for like the next decade.
Well, and we've talked about this before. Like the Rams have probably 3 or 4 superstars on their team, right?
Yeah.
And that's unheard of in the NFL. It's just the way the cap works, whatever. So it's almost better for them not to have first round guys because you have to pay them.
Yep.
Like they're happy paying $500,000 to a second rounder or $1 million or whatever.
So knowing Chicago's cap situation and what we have to do, who are we getting rid of now?
I think, they're either going to trade or post June 1st cut one of the 3 quarterbacks, right?
Jesus.
Which we can't cut Dalton. We literally just signed him. We need to eat that whole.
You'd have to get rid of Nick Foles.
We're going to probably get rid of Nick Foles because he restructured so it's not as big a cap hit this year to cut him.
Okay.
So,
we need to trade Justin Fields and Nick Foles to Green Bay.
For Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to Denver, man. That's just about done and said. That shit's going to happen.
I thought he would go to the 49ers.
I thought so too, but they have their quarterback.
They offered the 3rd overall pick in a trade, and they didn't take it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear that.
I heard
post-draft.
Yeah, they want to move Jimmy G.
They had a hefty package that involved the 3rd overall, and yeah.
And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'd just retire and host Jeopardy. Fuck it.
And be on the Pat McAfee show twice a week.
Yeah.
They said he would lose like $28 million if he did that.
Yeah, but when you got over
the host of Jeopardy.
Yeah.
You can do that forever. You've got 4 more good years playing quarterback? Or when's the next time the host of Jeopardy spot's going to open up?
Once they fill
more years?
It's a pretty longevity job.
Yeah. And people liked him when he hosted. A lot of people liked him.
And people took digs at him. Like,
and he rolled with it.
He could do that and work at Barstool. He's friends with Portnoy now.
I know he is. I just don't like him. I don't want him there.
I'll work at Barstool. Fuck it.
Oh, I'd love to work at Barstool. I'd quit my job tomorrow.
I want to audition for a Call Her Daddy podcast. Can we just audition for that?
By the way, I'm looking because I didn't have a lot of time yesterday to look or watch the third round. I didn't realize they drafted Thomas Graham out of Oregon. That dude's a stud. He can play everywhere. He can play slot. He can play outside. He can play safety.
Who?
Thomas Graham Jr.
He's a corner from Oregon.
Yeah. You talk about positional versatility. He was a 3-year starter for Oregon and literally lined up somewhere different pretty much every game. Like whatever Oregon needed to do on any specific day, he did for them.
Where did we draft him at?
If I click on the right tab, round 6 at 228. Right after we got the wide receiver from North Carolina, Newsome.
Gotcha.
I also like the 7th round dude we got from BYU.
The
Chris
defensive
Tonga.
tackle.
Yeah.
Tonga, well, he fills that hole that Akeem Hicks will be leaving. So that makes me feel like Akeem Hicks is, which honestly, Akeem Hicks needs to get on a contender. Like,
Yeah. He's
Chicago-
at that point in his career. He's 32 years old.
yeah. And
He just
for
couldn't
his
stay healthy. He just couldn't stay healthy last year.
in the last few years, he's had trouble. Biceps and
And I think that
knees.
like it can't be understated how much of a step back the defense took last year with Eddie Goldman being out.
Yeah.
We just couldn't stop the run. Like you take away Akeem Hicks and Eddie Goldman, that's like 700 pounds worth of meat that we just couldn't replace.
But we also didn't blitz enough. It was, we're going to let these 3 or 4 down linemen do it, and we're just going to play.
Which they have a new D coordinator this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can scheme up how to get 2 outside pass rushers at the same time.
It'd be nice because, I mean, we're only giving Robert Quinn like $13 million.
Exactly. To get 1 sack.
Yeah.
Like,
That was a ball sack.
yeah, I know. Like, I'm
No,
cautiously optimistic.
I think part of my disgust with the Fields trade is I was highly critical of him in college. Like this, especially this last year. He doubled the amount of interceptions this year from the previous year, and he played 6 less games. So either he's trying to push the ball down the field more and take more chances, or maybe he's went a step back in decision making. You don't know. I mean, I don't sit here and analyze every freaking throw of his, but just at face value, that's what it looked like.
I feel like we all watch a lot of Ohio State games during this COVID year. And for me, it did seem like he was taking more deep shots.
Yes.
Because I think Ryan Day was trying to get him his. So that's scary. Now, there's times he threw dimes. Like against Clemson, those were dimes. But then you see Indiana, and he overthrows a post by 8 yards. Multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Overthrows a running back flat route straight to a corner.
And when he does, he's a one-read guy. What was the wide receiver for them this year that was really good?
He was out one of those games that he didn't perform well.
He was out
against Indiana. Chris
and Northwestern. I don't think he played against Northwestern either.
Yeah.
And when he didn't have him, did you see him lock onto a receiver and then be like, "Oh shit, he's not open. I don't know what to do now. I'm going to run."
Because they ran a lot of shallow crosses against Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were.
But that's when that receiver was back, so he could look.
Yeah.
But then when you have two running backs behind you that can get you 150 yards combined,
But I didn't even realize Master Teague was the one that slashed Indiana, not Trey Sermon. And then Trey Sermon's the one that slashed Northwestern.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Trey Sermon.
Trey Sermon went in the
was
third
the one I was
round.
shitting on. I bet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Trey Sermon went in the. Which can we just go ahead and say FU NCAA? Justin Fields instantly eligible. Trey Sermon instantly eligible. Luke Ford has to sit out a year.
Yeah, because he has family members dying.
Yeah. So once again, let's bring this back to where we can all agree. Screw you, NCA squared. You're a bunch of asshole pricks. Yeah, so that was my thing was, one, I think we got rid of a one-read quarterback to expect another one-read quarterback to do more. Do I think he's a better scrambler? Yes. Do I think we took scrambling opportunities away from Mitch? Also, yes. So if Nagy doesn't do this right, we're in the same situation with just a quarterback who doesn't have a 0 after the 1. And so that worries me. And then when I looked at the draft scenario of, and that was the reason I didn't think Washington would take another Ohio State quarterback and so why I saw Justin Fields could slide to us without giving up anything, I was like, because I know at the absolute least, that's a top 10 pick next year. And that could really help us in rebuilding. Mm-hmm. And we could have done that and then still got Justin Fields at 20. And so that hurt a little bit more.
My question is, so if we come away from this draft without an answer at quarterback, right? Because there's the chance that, like, okay, we don't draft Justin Fields at 11. We wait at 20, don't take a quarterback there. There's a chance we still miss on those other guys in later rounds.
But, I mean, Trask wasn't taken until the 4th round.
No, Trask was taken the second.
Second round?
The second.
Oh, no, Ian Book was taken. Sorry, I was thinking.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you could have done an O-lineman and then done a quarterback. Or traded less in the second round to move up in the second round. You could have maybe given up something less to go get a quarterback. Now, I'm not going to sit here and look at everything, but I think you could have looked at it that way. Like, I'm going to give up less.
And really what we need is, and let's just all be honest here, we need a Tennessee Titans style offense. We don't need gaudy stats. We need a Ryan Tannehill to go 18 to 24 for, 2 or 3 plus 40-yard plays because they're so packed up on the run, because David Montgomery is going to be better again this year. So you're telling me if we just don't get him, take whoever, you take Jenkins in the first round. Honestly, that second round pick moving up to get him in the second when I thought he was a first rounder, I'll give him all the credit in the world for that. I thought that was a good decision. But I didn't like the first one because I think that I don't think Jenkins would have fell to us in the second round.
No. Well, a lot of people are putting him in the first round.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah.
And because we drafted him at 39.
Yeah.
Because 7 picks into the second round. Like, I'm all for that. Go fix your problem.
But I think you could have gotten, you could have probably still got Fields at 20. Like, that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it in the world of hypotheticals. And then you could have gotten him in the second round, made that small move, and then still had your third rounder and got maybe one of the offensive linemen from Texas A&M, one of those other tackles, because Texas A&M had a damn good offensive line this year. That's why Kellen Mond, he was upright a lot of his season.
Mm-hmm. Or just take one from Alabama, any one of them for Alabama. It would have been fine.
No, I don't want to be the Raiders. I don't want to be the Raiders and draft Alex Leatherwood at 17.
Which, by the way, what is the knock on it? Because he ain't ever been hurt. 2-time All-American at left tackle.
Don't they say he's slow? They keep talking about saying he's slow.
He's not slow. He doesn't play with his hands well, so he gives up speed rushers.
Put him inside then.
I don't know, but
I think we could have went like, I still think Fields would have slid. You trade up for Jenkins, that's fine, and then smacked either the BYU tackle, I can't remember where the hell he went.
Brady Christensen?
Yes. Hold on here. Because Walker Little. Let's see here. Because you still had the Radunes guy from North Dakota State that went after what our pick would have been in the second round.
I love how Coach West printed this off, and I'm trying to look at tabs.
Yeah. Nope, I printed it off, buddy. Yeah, the Mayfield guy from Michigan. Yeah, Christensen from BYU was still left in the third round. So you could have made a couple of minor moves and solidified your offensive line, got the same quarterback without giving up any picks. Unless the Raiders did Raider things.
Which they did. They definitely did Raiders things.
But if they were wanting an offensive lineman, they're probably not looking at Fields.
No, but they also had like 3 other tackles that were better than him at this point.
And then, I don't know why everybody. Well, and so then there's another dude from because I was looking at draft grades, what little I could on Pro Football Focus, and nope, never mind. The dude went in the 5th round to the Packers. It was a good pick, but that Shamar Jean Charles, that corner from them, he graded out at like a 91.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could have snagged him there. A little bit undersized, but could probably cover the slot pretty easy. I mean, if the guy from Oregon's a dude, then that's fine. But, Nate Hobbs got drafted from Illinois, and of all the people from Illinois, I didn't think he would be the second dude to get drafted from Illinois. I thought it would be Milo Eifert. Eifert went undrafted.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That dude's a monster.
Yeah. Eifler went undrafted, and so did a Matter Bebe, which I was like, if you're Chicago, why do you not go after a Matter Bebe? Literally, Illinois' momentum swings were basically linchpinned to a Matter Bebe, who went to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Did he really?
Yeah.
And
yeah, because there's your jump ball guy.
Yeah, you need a jump ball guy because Allen Robinson's going to leave. So we need that tall guy. Mooney's a slick receiver. I'm not trying to discount him, but he's not going to win us a one-on-one.
I think I got fired up with Justin Fields because I had to stick to it. I couldn't flip-flop. I hate this, number one. Number two, somebody had the nerve to say, well, he did good against a tough schedule and a tough thing. And I'm like, shut the front door. And he knows who he is. He might live in Illinois. But that's an idiotic statement. You like J.B. Pritzker.
I mean, let's be honest, dude. There was nothing tough about the front half of their schedule. And then the one trap game that they would have had against Maryland, they didn't play. And then the next trap game they would have had against Illinois, they didn't play. Because, I mean, at least we had won a couple of games, right? It wasn't like we were going to beat them, but maybe surprise them.
We had just come off the Nebraska game, right?
Yeah. We were flying high.
And that's when Peters still had his mustache going.
Yeah. We had some swanky flow going.
So
swagger at that
Ohio
point.
State was scared.
Yeah, they were scared of the mustache swagger for sure.
But I just, I'm tempering my expectations because of Matt Nagy. I got super excited after Mitch's first year when Nagy needed him to prove himself to NFL. And then Nagy went, nope, now I'm going to do my shit. And Mitch, you don't necessarily fit the bill. And I really don't think that Justin Fields fits the bill either, because the only person who fits the bill of what he's trying to do is playing in Kansas City. And you ain't ever going to get his ass.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I swear to God on everything that is holy, if he comes out and makes Justin Fields run around, does power reads and zone reads, I'm going to go to Matt Nagy's house, burn down his little house with all the BU shit on the wall, and throw Raising Canes at him. Because that's the stuff you should have done. Because
let's be honest, we could have had Mitch for another year. We weren't necessarily going to be in quarterback panic mode. We just didn't renew his 5th year.
But are you going to pay Mitch
$12 million?
You're paying Andy Dalton $10, $11 million.
the 5th year option now is like it's basically a franchise tag.
But isn't it based off of your contract, what it was? It's like a percentage.
I don't know. Was Mitch drafted before the
24.8 million? That's probably what we're paying Nick Foles.
Yeah, it is. It
is. So, I mean, let's be honest.
We take that off the books, we're in a much better cap situation.
With Foles, yeah, we got to get Foles moved.
We get Foles moved, and we trade what's his name? The D lineman we were just talking about.
That's a big contract. Let's look at Chicago's contracts.
Matt Nagy, that was a joke. I'm not going to blow up your little draft room.
He won't, but I will. Okay.
But I might blow up your car.
Cap hit. Allen Robinson's number 1 at $17.8 million. So when he leaves, that's going to create a big gap. Akeem Hicks is $12 million off the books. Robert Quinn, $14.5 million. My God. Jimmy Graham, $10 million. You think we could use him in the effing end zone, Matt Nagy? You fuck. Charles Leno, $11.2 million. An average tackle getting paid above average tackle money.
I've never seen offensive tackle fall to the ground so many times on every snap.
Nick Foles is only $6 million hit. That's pretty wild. Andy Dalton's 5.5.
Tariq making almost $6 million a year
is overpaying. But it's a 3.25 cap hit. So whatever I'm looking at is it's like Botrack or something. It like even breaks down their like workout bonuses and shit. But if we cut Hicks after June 1st, we'd only have 1.5 dead cap off of him.
Yeah, see, there's room to make cuts here.
Jimmy Graham, they could possibly cut because that would save him $7 million.
Which even why don't we cut him? We've got Cole Kmet.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest here. How in the hell do you get Jimmy Graham and then you just forget? Like we started off throwing the ball to him in the red zone early on in the year, and then all of a sudden it's like Matt Nagy got pissed off at him and just didn't throw him the ball. He was literally brought in to be a red zone threat, and there was series we had in the red zone where he's never on the field.
Mm-hmm.
When literally he was one of the best, like, I'm just going to get in front of this corner and turn around, and he can't get around me, guys, in the league. He can still do that.
And has been for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I think it was the Tennessee Titan game. We finally had enough. I think we literally marched down the field. He subbed out. I think, Nathan, you texted, where is Jimmy Graham? And then we throw an interception or something, or we overthrow somebody.
Yep. Let's be honest. The best bang for our buck right now is David Montgomery, $1.1 million.
Yeah.
Because let's look here. You got to look. The free agents they've signed, those are the guys fucking us in the cap. Because Akeem Hicks was a free agent, but that was pre-Pace. But Robert Quinn,
I'll take that contract. Like Akeem Hicks meant a hell of a lot to that defense for a long time.
But you got the top dudes: Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, Jimmy Graham, Khalil Mack, and Robert Quinn. Those are all Pace acquires, and they're all in the top 10 of our like cap hit. Whatever happened to finding like just the good middle guys?
The Bears they make interesting decisions.
Hey, can we get excited about our Indianapolis Colts pick, the edge rusher?
Dude, I was actually just looking at their draft.
There's one pick in there that I don't like.
You know, Kwity Paye runs a 4.3 40.
Well, that's that hand time shit. It's probably a 4.5, but that's still fast.
That's
it's still
fast.
fast.
And
But
his 3-cone is the fastest ever. 3-cone.
And he plays with a high motor. You know how many plays he chases down?
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, he's just super raw still. Yeah. Like, he's productive in the Big Ten without, like, set pass rush moves.
They took 2 edge rushers?
Yeah, the dude from Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah.
And he's built kind of like, who's the edge they already had? The guy from San Francisco.
Oh, Buckner?
Yeah, he's kind of built like DeForest Buckner.
Mm.
Like the same kind of tweener inside-outside guy.
They'll have some depth on that defensive line.
You know what I like is that, you know, what's his name's already made it known, Darius Leonard, that you either come to play here and play hard or you don't play here.
Dude, did you watch the PFF draft show at all?
No.
Darius Leonard was on the show.
Really?
Panelist on the draft show. He looks like a random dude on the street.
But he's one of the best linebackers in the NFL.
Dude, I'm dead serious. You would not know he's a football player.
No shit.
He is small. Like, he said he plays at 215.
Wow. That's why he's so fast.
Yeah. But that's wild. Because
I mean,
was like,
he's a hella
this guy on the panel? And then somebody was like, oh, that's Darius Leonard. I'm like, whoa. That's wild. 215 pounds, all-pro linebacker.
I did like Philadelphia's picks because they got Devontae Smith at 10 and then drafted Landon Dickerson to shore up the inside of their line. I think that fits them well with Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see who else I liked.
I did not like the Colts picking Sam Ehlinger up. Not one bit.
Hey, telling you, here he comes.
I'd rather have got Ian Book, but Ian Book was taken before, I think.
Yeah, you weren't getting.
It's going to be a Colt McCoy situation with Sam Ehlinger. They're like the same player.
Let's be honest, though. The Arizona Cardinals adding Rondale Moore to that offense.
Stud.
Yeah.
I also, I'm just going to put a thing in here for the Jets. Kind of like their draft.
Kind of like taking a 12-year-old looking quarterback.
Yeah. Get the Mormon in there. You know. Bring Mormon
to New York.
Over to New York.
Get the dude who won't do blow. And that's who we wanted for quarterback.
No, you got Zach Wilson, who Steve sucked his dick for an entire college football season. Then you get Vera Tucker, who can either play guard or tackle for you. And if they put him next to the tackle they drafted last year, that's a mountain of a man. Like, you have 3/5 at that point of a really good offensive line.
They took more from Ole Miss? Good Lord.
Yeah. Now, I don't necessarily like drafting a running back in the 4th round. Like, I don't know. That North Carolina running back, Michael Carter, he's really good. I also don't like the fact that they drafted a Michael Carter and then they drafted Michael Carter the second.
Yes.
Who drafts from Duke? Honestly.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Why did we take another running back when we already have Damian Williams and Tariq Cohen and David Montgomery?
I don't know, but that Herbert guy's good.
Oh, I didn't know Kendrick Green went to the Steelers.
Yeah.
From Peoria native.
Awesome.
Dude, the Cleveland Browns had a really good effing draft. They got the Newsome kid out of Northwestern, then that Owusu Koram, whatever the hell his name is, from Notre Dame. Yeah. Yeah. They went after they got a lot better.
Who took the running back from Oklahoma State?
Chuba Hubbard?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He went in the 4th round. Hold on. I will look. I will find it for you.
I think the Pittsburgh Steelers had the stupidest draft.
Carolina Panthers took Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard. It's like you're talking about bubble gum.
Yes, Chuba Hubbard.
Who no longer has Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Well, they got Sam Darnold, who I think is an upgrade.
I think Sam Darnold wasn't really given a chance in New York. I mean, what weapons did Sam Darnold have?
I'm not sold on him. I would take Mitch Trubisky.
He had a terrible quarterback development coach. You know who his coach was?
Yeah.
Fucking what's his name? Used to be the offensive coordinator for the Bears.
Yeah, Adam Gase.
Adam Gase, who looks like he's a crack addict.
He does do crack. It's New York, and that's what's going to happen to Zach Wilson. He'll be okay for that year, and then once he realizes where he's playing, he's going to start doing cocaine.
You know who also had a good draft? The Detroit Lions, believe it or not. For the dude who wanted kneecaps, they got Sewell, who's an absolute ass kicker. Did you see what the defensive lineman they took in the second round said? He's like, yeah, I'm here to fuck people up. That's what I do. He's like, putting the offensive lineman on their ass, that's all I want to fucking do. Put people on their ass. He's like, nothing feels better than putting an offensive lineman on their ass.
Okay.
And that's who they took with their second pick. So now we've gotten Ndamukong Suh back in freaking Detroit.
Oh, and that corner they took in the third round, Melifonwu.
Yeah.
He's like 6'4".
Yeah. And Derek Barnes slid, but he's a good linebacker.
Uh-huh. You're right, they had a good draft.
For them to kind of, I mean, I don't know so much about all the kneecap shit, but
yeah, no, I could do without that.
And you know who needed a good draft but had no picks to even have a draft was the Houston Texans.
How many picks did they end up with?
They only had 5 picks, 2 round 3s, 2 round 5s, and a round 6. And with their first pick, they took the kid out of Stanford. If
Get
that's
what
the situation is.
Get a load of Seattle. Look at Seattle's draft. I'll wait.
Hold on here. Scrolling down through the grades.
Yeah. It's comical what their draft was.
Seattle draft picks.
Where's it at? Oops,
It's easy to miss.
Where the hell's it at? Oh my God. 3 people.
They had 3 picks.
Poor Russell Wilson.
There's a reason he's trying to get the hell out.
Yeah.
You took a cornerback from Oklahoma. Yep, that's all I needed to see.
See, I was surprised that Tampa Bay didn't go and get that left. Because remember, Tampa Bay had one of their starting offensive linemen opt out of this past season.
Mm-hmm.
And they already have Tristan. They already have Tristan Wirfs. What if you drafted Tevin Jenkins and you had Wirfs and Jenkins as best tackle combo in the league for the next 6 years?
And then the Tim Tebow comeback.
Yeah.
He's risen again. I told everybody he would come back. Urban Meyer coaching in Florida. And he bought a house next to Urban Meyer bought a house next to Tim Tebow.
You know what? I hate to say this, but the Vikings had a good draft too.
The Washington football team also did well.
Yeah, the Vikings got Darisaw in the first to play tackle for them, which is a huge problem. They got Kellen Mond in the third, who can just sit there until they finally realize that their current quarterback sucks.
And he won't be coming into a bad situation. You've got Jefferson and Thielen.
Yep.
That's not a bad situation.
And they drafted Wyatt Davis, that monster of a guard from Ohio State.
Oh, yeah, who looks like Blastoise. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that GIF for that like meme?
Uh-huh.
I can't unsee that. Like it literally looks like Blastoise.
Atlanta
Falcons.
Falcons.
The only thing I liked about Washington's draft was drafting an off-ball linebacker in the first round.
Isn't that kid's pretty good though?
He is, but he only really had 1 year of being good.
Right, because he got kicked out of his previous college, right?
I don't know if it was that or what,
I
but
think it was.
That was the corner out of Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they said he's like an athletic freak.
Like, they gave the Atlanta Falcons an A+.
If you're Washington, like, their front seven is scary.
If you are the Atlanta Falcons and you can't generate yards, you just need to be fired. Like, they need to fire you after 3 games if you can't move the ball. They have Pitts, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Todd Gurley at running back, who's still serviceable enough. Like, if you can't generate points in that offense, and Matt Ryan's your quarterback, he can still deal. He hadn't had anybody since Kyle Shanahan. Oh, and he had Sarkisian, who in the pros was a statistic killer.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes to Alabama and just everybody wants Sarkisian.
They even gave
bring Florida back or Texas back.
They gave the Green Bay Packers an A.
If they lose Aaron Rodgers because of that first round pick not being offensive help, because you still had Rondale Moore, you had offensive help sitting there at wide receiver, like somebody to put. Because I know that the King guy, whatever the hell his first name is, the King guy lost him the game on those blown coverages, but still, Aaron Rodgers is about to leave.
Well,
and you don't give him anything.
Well, it's funny you brought that up. Their first pick was Eric Stokes, the cornerback from Georgia. So they're like, nope, no more.
And Stokes would have probably been there in the second round.
And they got the center from Ohio State. And Amari Rodgers from Clemson, the wide receiver. So they're helping Aaron Rodgers out there. Another offensive tackle. A guard from Wisconsin.
I mean, I have a hard time saying the Packers do anything correctly because it just hurts my soul.
And Aaron Rodgers still wants out. He wants to go to the Kentucky Derby with his hair slicked back and have a good time.
That's right.
Why not?
Why not? And Dave Portnoy was there. I bet he's working at Barstool tomorrow.
I mean, if you're Aaron Rodgers, what else do you have to prove? I'm sure you want like a second Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
That's probably, I don't know. He's been league MVP, 3 times?
Yeah. Because he's put up unbelievable numbers.
Dude, you're a Hall of Famer. Like, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I just hang it up and host Jeopardy.
Dude, the Dolphins did pretty damn well because they got the Hackenberg guy from Notre Dame who's just as serviceable as Tunsil because Tunsil's been just absolute shit in Houston. You want to talk about a team that fleeced a team? Miami fleeced Houston.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Because Houston's
done that a couple times. They fleeced Pittsburgh for a safety.
You realize they got with the Houston pick, that's what they used to draft Waddle because Miami was actually good.
Yeah, Miami picked 18th.
Yeah.
I love scrolling through this, and all of a sudden you see this short little writing. I'm like, oh, there's the Seattle Seahawks picks because there was only 3.
Yeah, everyone else has got a big list of guys.
And then there's the Seahawks. Whose defense sucked. Poor Russell Wilson.
You know, once again, if you look at it, and I'm still going back to this Fields trade, right? So we trade with the Giants, but the Giants ain't taking a – wait, who was their quarterback?
Jones.
Jones, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you've got them at 11. The Cowboys, they have Prescott. The Chargers have Herbert. The Jets just drafted their guy, so they ain't picking a quarterback. The Patriots.
I'll interject. The Jets are stupid enough to take another quarterback.
Well, then it would have been good for all of us to see this.
We want a good quarterback room.
By the way, I would have been fired up for that. I'm like, hell yeah, competition, brother.
Why do the Jets have 6 quarterbacks?
One of them's got to pan out.
Let's go.
Is that cocaine?
The Patriots wanted Jones. The Cardinals already have Kyler Murray. The Raiders, they could do Raider things, but I'm pretty sure they were dead set. If you're taking Leatherwood there, you're taking Leatherwood there no matter what.
But also, John Gruden loves quarterbacks.
He does, but I think you don't take Alex Leatherwood there if you're not saying you're taking Alex Leatherwood there before any of this happened.
I think every year John Gruden's draft board goes every first-round quarterback, a second-round quarterback, and then like fourth-round tackles. That's all they have on their draft board.
The Miami Dolphins have Tua, and the Washington football team ain't going to jade themselves again by taking another Ohio State quarterback. So he would have fell.
That's unless one of those teams, like I said, picks back up from the second round.
But who would it have been is the question. Because
but if Fields gets taken.
Atlanta, maybe Atlanta. Cincinnati already has their quarterback. Detroit, maybe. Mm-hmm. But I mean, with Goff sitting there with that big of a pay scale, I don't know. Maybe the Panthers, and the Broncos are already planning on getting Aaron Rodgers. So,
and they traded for Teddy Bridgewater.
Right.
And then my thing is, it's not like if they did.
So I don't know how many teams would have been moving up.
But then if someone did take Fields, it's not like you didn't have another quarterback to take that would not have been good. Take Trask. Take Ian Book.
Let's be honest. We don't need a good quarterback. We just needed Mitchell Trubisky to be allowed to be Mitchell Trubisky instead of trying to be what Matt Nagy wanted him to be. Because in that 1 year we saw it, he had like 30-some touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
I'm still on this Trask thing, though. I'm going to die on this hill.
We should have let Mitch kiss the titties, and we would have been fine.
Well, because, and this is the thing, did Mitch lose remember the first Green Bay game when Khalil Mack comes in? Did Mitch lose that game? Or did Matt Nagy's bullshit play calling lose us that game?
Along with defensive choking, which the defense got left out to dry on that game. If you remember right, that whole second half.
Yeah, because it was run.
I felt like I was watching an Illinois game.
Yeah.
Or short pass and then 6 straight runs.
Yes. And then, so you look at, so that was one, in Mitch's good year, that was one game that he had where Nagy basically took it out of his hands, right? Because the offense put up 20 points in the first half, and we shut Green Bay out. It was a shutout. We had shut Green Bay out for a half, which I don't think any of us ever saw coming. So then you look at the Giants game. Trubisky didn't play in that game. You look at the Miami game. Did Trubisky play in that one? Because he got hurt for a couple games, didn't he?
Are you talking about his second year?
Yes, second year. Or did he play all 16?
I think he played all
16.
When did he – hold on.
This year he got hurt.
The year after, year 3.
Well, this year he got hurt.
Yeah.
Hold on. So we're going to Pro Football Reference so I can remember this shit because Matt Nagy's giving me Alzheimer's. No, Mitch Trubisky in his second year only started 14 games. We lost 2 games because Chase Daniels played. We lost to Miami and we lost to the New York Giants.
We played the Patriots that year?
Yeah, we lost to the Patriots at home. We lost to Trubisky only started 14 games. He didn't play a full season. He was 11-3 as the starter, and we were 11-5 because we lost to Miami, we lost to the Giants, we lost to, and Nagy's play calling actually fucked us in the Giants because we lost in overtime. Same with Miami. His bullshit play calling. Guess what lost us the playoff game? The one time we pushed the ball down the field, it's a 40-yard pass to Anthony Miller. But that was the only time we pushed the ball down the field. The whole damn game. So please tell, and I'm going to say this for Justin Fields, we can't even judge you as a quarterback if Nagy's calling your plays. Because he is going to screw you. Because if he gets a lead, he is going to play not to lose. And in big games, he is going to play not to lose.
Hey, but he has BU written on his play card.
Yeah. Well, he's being him all right.
He needs to quit being himself. Quit being you. I'm going to blow up his draft room.
Steve, you really like to blow things up.
There's nothing else to do. Everybody else could for a year. Why can't I do it?
Like you realize that Mitch Trubisky, we got rid of him and he went 6-3. Tell me what Chicago quarterbacks that other than Kyle Orton, we got rid of him for 13-3, and Thomas Jones.
Oh, that was rough.
Who then went to the Jets and is the reason I'm a Jets fan.
Yeah. But you think about it. Trubisky is 29-21 as a starter. He was 4-8 that first year, which they wouldn't even let him throw the ball that first year.
Yeah.
So his second year, he has an off year. Okay. Or his third year, sorry. Second year, he was a Pro Bowl alternate who ended up in the Pro Bowl because of people making the Super Bowl. So he's 11-3 and 6-3. And that middle year there was because Matt Nagy was a cock and wouldn't call plays for Mitchell Trubisky. He called him for Matt Nagy's super duper offense and shit. That's what his playbook's called, by the way.
Thunder.
Matt Nagy's super duper offense and shit.
Yes.
What's the and shit? Was that all the
That's
fucking
the Santa sleigh. Yeah, that's the Santa sleigh and all that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to die on this Trask hill. I'm just saying, you could have still got a quarterback. Brad, you were all on board with don't make me pull up old college football recaps.
No, I like Kyle Trask. I do. But Kyle Trask has the same problem that the other two white guy quarterbacks we have on our team right now have.
But he's a better thrower. He's a better thrower. He has better pocket awareness.
I don't think he's a better thrower than Justin Fields.
I think so.
I think Justin Fields has a better arm than Kyle Trask.
Then what did Kyle Trask do against Alabama? What did he do against LSU? What did he do against these other teams?
Listen, he had really good receivers.
Back up again.
He had really fucking good receivers.
Who?
All you have to do
Who?
is I could shot put a fucking ball to his receivers and they're going to take it 90 yards.
Name one other good receiver besides
Pitts. Are you shitting
Pitts.
me right now?
Name one. Can you name one without looking it up? Because I can't.
Kyle Pitts.
I said besides him.
Who is the fucking other one that is a
exactly? We don't know. See, we don't know.
Tony.
Since we don't know, it don't matter.
I just told you a second one.
They didn't play against Alabama, and he put up 300 or 400 yards and scored 50-some points.
Congratulations! They didn't play against Alabama. You're
Thundercut
telling me
Smith, shut the fuck up! I am smoking crack.
Florida doesn't have 4-star backups.
Who is the backup?
I don't give a shit. I didn't watch that much Florida.
You should have, because Trask is better than Justin Fields.
A lot of Florida, but I don't know who the goddamn backups are, Steve.
Well, you should.
Congratulations.
Thundercut Smith, I have no idea who you are, but we are both smoking cocaine. With our NFTs. Thank you very much.
So, this is really going to get Steve fired up. The leading rusher on his team, now let's make a comment here that they played a full schedule and like Ohio State did because they're bitches.
Well, yeah, well, that end of the
his number one running back.
Are we just going to pass over the fact of what Jacob said? DMC announced Kendrick Green to the Steelers.
Yeah, it was awesome.
DMC.
That's the coolest shit ever.
Jacob, we were hot and heavy, and I'm reading someone named Thunder.
Thunder boy, fuck you, Thunder. Never mind. I'm not going to say that name out loud. But whatever.
Anyway,
so either Coach Steve is a massive troll that knows how to get under a ginger boy's skin, or his brain has leaked out of his ear. Both. Yes.
Boy. Clearly, he doesn't know about your quads, Brad. But anyway, so
wait, Brad has red hair. Can we just stop for a second? Who is this person?
About these stats because you guys are arguing, so I'm bringing this up.
Well, hold on. Now I want to call out this guy. Now I want to after your
guy. He's just a troll. So, anyways, leading rusher for Florida, 500 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Next dude, 310. I don't even know if they had 1,000 yards rushing between everybody put together. Ball was literally in his hands the whole time. So you had, who's Jacob Copeland? I don't know. That's some backup receiver. Then you had Trayvon Grimes. It's another one that was close. Malik Day. I have no. That was a running back. Justin Shorter. Have no clue who that is. Yeah, he literally. Trayvon Grimes and Jacob Copeland were the other 2 receivers in the offense, and they probably got their yards because the other 2 guys opted out.
Yeah, which is fine. You only really need 2 guys when those 2 guys are Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney.
But Fields didn't have to show up in games. He could just hand the ball off, like a Northwestern game. He could hand the ball off. Or this side, he could literally turn around and hand it off and not throw one ball, and they would probably win the game. Because their offensive line, because of this. Trask had to throw the ball for them to win. So I'd rather take a guy where he put a guy on his back. Don't you walk away from me.
I'm trying to look here.
You guys got fired up, so I have to get fired up.
The Grimes guy only had 38 receptions on the full year. Yeah, he really had nobody else to throw to once those guys opted out.
And Dan Mullen knows offense, but I never understood when he would design run plays for Trask. That's one thing I never understood.
Yeah.
Like, he could probably put his nose down and get you 1 or 2 yards. When he was trying to do the wide zone stuff with him, I never understood it. This guy is going to be put in timeout.
I like this guy.
No,
I put him in timeout.
Steve, you can't do that. Steve. This is the fun part. You can't talk shit about like Shannon Sharp and stuff and then do something that Shannon Sharp would do.
He'll be back in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, he'll be back. I can't. He'll be back in 5 minutes.
He's sitting here watching this bullshit ass podcast we're doing. Like,
well, I personally think, and I'm still going out on this.
I actually just wanted to piss him off more.
If that pick is a top 10 draft pick, I think we overpaid.
No, I agree. I'm just saying if we would never have traded, would have been so bad to get Trask. That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like there was 0 quarterbacks. That's my argument.
Let's be honest here. As long as we're dealing with Matt Nagy, there's going to be no quarterback that fits his offense because his offense is built for one man.
And I think that, listen, life off of Twitter has changed me. I'm a positive person now, Steve.
You were backpacking.
And yeah, I spent the weekend.
He backpacked to clear his mind for this.
Yeah. I had to take some time off of the world. Okay. And I'm just trying to be positive about the Bears because I don't have any other options in my life. I just have to take this shitty team and try to have some happiness out of it.
Or you could add stress to your life and argue like I do.
So basically you're telling me I'll just make a brand new Twitter.
That's what you need to do. And then just tweet at the old one still. We'll still tag that. We'll tag that one.
Be Thunder Cunt Smith before he takes
Oh, God.
You want to know what though? I think the one stat that Brad found interesting because Clemson's defenses have been so good is that they had nobody selected on the defensive side of the ball in this draft.
That was also some of the worst defensive play calling I've ever seen.
Yes.
In that game. We talked about that right after the game, didn't we?
Yeah, I think
they were fucking lost.
Yeah.
When that linebacker got kicked out.
Yeah, they never really had like their full strength defense because that safety came in at halftime.
Yeah.
And then when Justin Fields was hurt, make them go to the outside then. Make Justin Fields run the ball.
Yeah. And, I mean, also the first ever targeting to the hip socket we've ever seen.
Yeah. Can you admit, though, that it might be kind of fun to have a quarterback now that runs a 4.4?
the 40 time makes no difference to me whatsoever. I could give a rat's ass about a hand time for 40 times.
Can you just be excited about something?
No.
All right.
I can be excited about the fact that the Indianapolis Colts got better on defense, and that's who we're cheering for this year anyway, so it don't fucking matter.
The Indianapolis Colts got a lot better all around.
Yeah, they did.
We're being serious.
And they didn't even overpay for Wentz.
No, they didn't.
Like
we need somebody and that's what, if Chicago would say, screw this, let's go out and get this badass quarterback and miss just over and over again and say, you know what? We're just going to settle for the above average guy. But we're going to give him an amazing offensive line with a big play wide receiver threat, a guy who can stretch the field, and a guy that can win jump balls, and a solid running back, which we already have. Believe it or not, we already have Mooney and Robinson. And we just build a nice, solid offensive line. We could be competent. But instead, we want to have this hotshot quarterback because we have this hotshot coach.
Well, okay, for as long as we've all been alive, what have the Chicago Bears been chasing?
Quarterbacks. And they're going to continue to chase them.
The Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yeah.
We have been chasing the Green Bay Packers who, what have they done? Like, there have been several years where Green Bay has not had good teams, but have had a Hall of Fame quarterback who just pasted over all of it.
Yep.
And I think they've been trying to do that without any success at all for years. And I don't necessarily trust the Bears front office to just pick good football players in general. Like, I don't trust them to pick above average tackles or elite level tackles like you're talking about.
And let's be honest, they might have with this guy. Maybe.
With God damn it.
Jenkins.
I'm getting so mad at Steve, I can't even think right now.
Well, Brad, you were going to be. I was telling you, I'm this close to being a Jets fan. Like, that's where I'm at right now. I'm that close.
Man.
But what I'm saying is we don't need a Justin Fields. We need a Ryan Tannehill or somebody like that.
You realize Justin Fields is Ryan Tannehill.
I think Kyle Trask would be a better Ryan Tannehill than
Tannehill's like development that took him 8 years to become Ryan Tannehill we know now. They're the exact same problems. Like, held on to the ball too long, took a lot of sacks, slow progression through reads, had a good arm, was like a plus athlete because he played receiver. Like, they're basically the same quarterback.
You want to know who was a Ryan Tannehill? Mitchell Trubisky was a Ryan Tannehill. And when they actually allowed him to move, instead of sit here and you need to read these 4 reads. When they made him a 1-read quarterback, he was competent enough.
Justin Fields is Lamar Jackson.
But there's the other problem is, like, competent enough quarterback is good when they're on their rookie contract, but then you have to pay that guy.
The average quarterback contract now, though, is like $20 million.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay when they're a rookie on their rookie deal, but, like, Mitchell wasn't – would you say Mitchell at his peak was 75% of what Ryan Tannehill is?
I would say he was all of what we needed, though.
But I'm saying, like, we were getting ready to have to pay Mitchell a hell of a lot more money to just be adequate.
I personally don't think that he would have commanded that big of a contract. He would have commanded money, but I don't think – I don't know. I don't think that Fields is that answer because I think they're going to try and do too much, and it's going to end up – he's just going to have a shutdown mode. Because I think Nagy's going to be like, ooh, this is my guy. I drafted him. So now all of a sudden he's going to have this belief that he never even gave Mitch an Ice Cube's chance in hell to have that same belief. And then he's going to throw it all at him, and it ain't going to be pretty. because we're going to play against some good-ass teams and some good-ass teams early on.
And that's my other thing I was going to get fired up about was these NFL coaches. You hear it all the time, though, and it's not just me. You hear it. They don't adapt to what they have. So a new head coach comes in, a new play caller, they don't want to adapt to what they have. Like, you're going to do what I do. And that's where I respect college coaches more because they say, okay, I'm going to adapt to what you're going to do. And high school coaches, usually, we all know some that don't, we're going to do what you can do.
I don't know what guy, if it was Chris Carter or Michael Irvin, this was back when they were talking about Dak Prescott a lot. And they were talking about how successful Dak Prescott was in the previous head coach, whatever the hell his name was, because I don't watch Cowboys.
Jason Garrett.
Yeah. How well he played in Jason Garrett's system. And they made the point that Jason Garrett made it a point to like cater his offense to Dak Prescott's abilities. And so that's the thing in the NFL. You see guys have success. It's because the coach says, you know what? I'm not going to be stuck in my ways. I'm going to shift what we do towards your abilities. And like Andy Reid, after coaching for as long as Andy Reid's coached and had multiple competent quarterbacks, I mean, hell, he had Donovan McNabb for a long time. He finally found a guy that could do everything that he wanted to do. But it's taken him until he's 64 years old. And like, it's his once in a coaching career guy. And not every coach finds that guy.
Well, like Baltimore, they went to a straight up wing T option formations a lot. I mean, it's true. It's like Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying he can't throw, but he does short passes pretty well. But he can do it off of a read or a play action. And they went to that wing T triple option. Now, this year, the NFL said, oh, we're the NFL. We can figure out how to stop this, which they did. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm scared of with Justin Fields. Are we going to start seeing an option thing here, work this year, save Matt Nagy's career, then next year they figure out how to – then we're stuck. And then next year the NFL defensive coordinators go, oh, we get paid a lot of money to figure this out. We can figure out how to stop this option offense. Matt Nagy shits the bed. Justin Fields is a one-read guy. And then we're back where we started, like from 2018. Is it just going to be a carousel over again?
Because it's kind of like the Wildcat was cool at one point.
Yeah.
With Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams. And then guess what happened the next year? Wildcat didn't do shit. And now the Wildcat's basically phased out all over again.
Or the Philly special.
See it like once or twice a game.
Right. But it's very – the Bears trying to do it with Cordero Patterson and Tariq Cohen, probably not. Let's just call that stupid shit. That's the stupid shit part of the playbook.
Well, basically anything where Cordero Patterson was in the backfield.
Stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then like my other fear with Justin Fields is he could outrun the Big Ten defensive players. What about the NFL? Like,
I think 4-4 translates.
Then side to side does not matter in a 4-4. 4-4 is when nobody's around, you're going straight down the field. I'm talking about side to side.
I understand how sports work.
I don't know if you do, if you don't like my Trask comments.
Listen, I like Kyle Trask. I do.
Listen here, Thunder. Listen here, Thundercut.
I fucking hate you so much. Fuck you, and I'll see you next Sunday.
Oh, he ran it and it wasn't laser time, so that's a 4.6. So he ran a 4.6.
Okay, sure. Whatever. He ran a 4.6. Congratulations. He's still more athletic than Mitchell Trubisky. It's not a 4.4. Whatever. Okay. I watched him run away from college defenses.
Yeah, there's no laser there. There's literally a cone sitting there, an orange cone you can buy at like Walmart.
Were you about to say Bed Bath & Beyond?
No, I was about to say Best Buy, but that ain't even close.
I don't think Best Buy sells traffic cones.
Yeah, you literally have guys sitting there with stopwatches.
Which is what everyone had to do this year because there was no combine.
Which is why I'm not too thrilled with like everybody's old.
Kyle Pitts ran a 4.39.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that? You mean to tell me they couldn't take the track equipment?
Run defensive backs all year.
How is it, Brad, that I can afford a free lap system but these college teams can't afford a laser system.
Or go ask the track program, like, hey, can we borrow this for a second?
Yeah, you all got FAT.
The track team at Ohio State has to have a laser track system.
Right.
There's no chance in hell.
You want to know why?
I blame LeBron James. Continue.
You want to know why? It's because they didn't want these guys to realize how much slower they had gotten being in college football, because all they do is, well, Ohio State's a lot more progressive, but a lot of these dudes, they just lift weights.
Yeah. Well, I think certain programs you can count on guys to be
fast.
Like Florida always has fast players.
Alabama. Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's 4-4-4, by the way.
Yeah.
Hand time.
Hand time.
Let's go ahead and throw that out there.
So it's really a 5-1.
It's basically like if you would have done more squats.
The dude basically has one leg.
Hold on. Let's see what Mitch Trubisky's laser time 40.
Has Brad not noticed his name?
That's fine, Steve. That's fine. This is our last fucking podcast we're ever going to do.
I'll see you next Sunday.
I'll see you next Sunday.
Now, Mitch Trubisky was a 4.67 on the lasers. So I would say they were pretty similar.
I will stand by the fact that Justin Fields is a better athlete than Mitchell Trubisky. And if either one of you are shitty about that comment, you're just pissy about the draft. You're pissy about how the draft went.
I mean, LeBron does suck.
Yeah, no, LeBron James. It all goes back to him somehow. It's LeBron's fault the Bears can't find and develop a good quarterback.
I mean, it's about time you agreed with me. Don't worry, Brad. I copied and pasted the name back in. I copied it for you.
Did he do anything else? I don't even know if he did anything else.
Steve,
no, Justin Fields. What?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, Justin Fields is Justin.
More bullshit.
No, I was gonna say I agree with you. Justin Fields is an athlete. I can't take that away from anything.
Okay.
He's athletic.
I got you to say one nice thing. That's all I really needed out of today.
But take a hit in the back like a man, and don't act like you died.
Is Justin Fields a better athlete than Tom Brady?
Yes.
Okay, well...
No, it's Justin Fields that goes.
There's a difference between being an athlete and being a quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time.
The greatest professional athlete of all time.
Greatest professional athlete ever.
I think Logan Paul is the greatest.
Tom Brady, Logan Paul, LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
Oh, you can go fuck yourself. Never put LeBron James up in that conversation.
Did Jordan ever deal with a high ankle sprain and then say he would never be the same again?
Michael Jordan broke his leg.
That's what he's going through, Steve. Have you ever had a high ankle sprain?
Oh my God.
LeBron,
his life's never going to be the same.
LeBron needs to take the tampon out of his vagina and ass and go play. Both.
His ass.
But that's how he puts the steroids in, Steve. You got to be anally inserted.
You can just do it in the foot. It just makes more sense.
He goes to the same massage therapist.
Thunder Smith never came back, by the way.
Good.
Well, yes. I can't believe you're blocking the comments.
First of all, it said timeout. First of all, it said timeout, and I thought it was only going to be for a minute. I don't make the settings.
You can't. You can't.
It gives you two options: timeout or block. I said timeout.
It says
says block
for 5 minutes. I said timeout. Blocking means they can never look at the page ever again.
Well, Steve, I would really like you to commit right now to let the trolls go.
Yes, we got to let them go.
Brad, but hold on. We were doing so good. We were doing so good. I didn't want somebody to ruin the flow. So he had to be put in timeout for a second and then come back.
It was my favorite part of this podcast. We had a guy named Thundercunt show up to our podcast and start commenting. How is that not on brand?
And he was easily insulting. He was talking shit about Steve and said you were a troll and called Brad like a ginger.
Now, How did he come up with ginger? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, I have red hair.
It's not red.
It's strawberry blonde.
From Strawberry Fields.
I can try to be a man and say that out loud, but I'm strawberry blonde.
All right. Well, that was a good discussion.
Yeah, I feel like I aired some grievances.
I got to get everything that I wanted to get out.
Yeah.
And the Bears should take in Trask.
I will say you are right in saying the Bears leveraged the future on this guy.
Yes.
This is the second time in like 10 years we've leveraged our future over a quarterback.
And third time total because Khalil Mack was the other one.
Now I have a question because I can't remember. What did we give up to get Trubisky?
2 firsts.
Yeah, 2 future firsts.
And I think a second. Or a third, yeah.
Yeah.
So at least we didn't give up as much like we did for Trubisky.
And Trubisky would have been there at that third pick. I'm still sitting on this hill. I have a hard time not thinking that Fields would have been there. Because you got to think, the Raiders had 4 other tackles and they chose Leatherwood. So let's be honest, they were taking Leatherwood.
Maybe.
Because
I also think, isn't Ron Rivera the general manager?
Yeah.
He would have taken Fields.
Fine. Then we have another. That's the thing, though. There's other quarterbacks to pick from. Like there was no quarterback, so I just don't understand. Doesn't Justin Fields have a fake hip now? I don't know. This is a fake hip from getting hit at Clemson?
China man is not the issue here, Steve. That rug really tied the room together.
God, just take a hit in the back like a man.
Okay, listen. That's just gamesmanship. That's gamesmanship, Steve.
Yeah, but now
if you get hit and you're a quarterback and you don't flail, like that's just dumb.
So we're LaFlopping now. We're bringing a LaFlopper into Chicago.
Yes.
If it makes a difference between winning and losing a game, fuck yeah, LaFlop all over the place.
I'm gonna blow up Soldier Field.
We're gonna. Oh God.
You're getting us put on a watch list.
Yeah, Steve officially made the terrorist watch.
Did you see they might go to Arlington Heights now?
Why?
Because the horse race track is up for sale, all that land. So it's been brought up that the Bears might buy it and move there.
They just updated their facilities.
Now, I don't know if it'll be the game field or like a practice place. I could see the practice place, maybe like the summer stuff to go there.
Soldier Field's like a landmark, right?
You know, this is what happens when you don't own the stadium you play in.
This is why, this situation, I blame Lori Lightfoot.
No,
what kind of name is Lightfoot?
I thought the McCaskies own.
They don't own the field.
Chicago Park District does.
Oh, that's right.
Because they used to be in Peoria way back in the day.
Yeah. And the Staleys before that.
And the Staleys. So that's why I think the Bears are thinking about buying it, or McCaskies are thinking about buying that land because it's huge. I've been there one time. It's huge.
Yeah, it's a half a mile track. It's huge.
But like around it too, they own all of that. Like they own all of it around it.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll buy it. Take 2 of them. Speaking of which, if you want to, hey, hold on, because I got to get off here because I told my wife I'd be off at 3 so I could make dinner. But anyways, I found some land down in Alabama, so I'm looking. 65 acres. Okay. Now imagine you're sitting at the Dairy Queen next to Westville High School and you look across Route 1, Gulf of Mexico. We just split that 3 ways. Gets us the hell out of Illinois, down in legitimate BFE right next to the OCEAN. We could have a good time.
I would go to Alabama games.
Yeah, and we go to Alabama games.
Can we go find Ed Orgeron too and be like, let's go crawfishing?
Yeah, it's pretty damn close to Louisiana. It's like in that little handle part.
Yeah, it's like the
Gulf Shores, or is that the other side?
Whatever.
Hell, I don't know where it's at. All I know is they got a picture of it. $250,000, 45 acres, nice flat land. We all get RVs, live out there.
We create a compound. We call it Waco. We're going to have a lot of guns.
Yes.
And sister wives.
Yes.
Have you run that part of it by your wife yet?
No.
Okay.
But honestly, getting up every day and just walking across the street to the beach, not a bad job for a homeless guy.
Yeah, but I don't want to live somewhere nice. Like, I like being miserable.
But with no Twitter, you don't want to complain. So this would you could get rid of all technology because you literally have the best view ever when you just go out and go sit on the beach all day.
It's a good point. Good point. Thanks for bringing me back to my new outlook.
What entertainment would you need if you could just go to the ocean?
I don't know. There are turkeys down there. It's really all the friends I need.
You pull your jet ski across the road because you're that close to the ocean. You just drop it in the ocean and go jet skiing for a little while, come back.
Really, that's all I want in life is just a jet ski.
You know how much fun that is, but scary at the same time, especially when you're in the ocean?
Yeah, they're a blast.
My wife hates them, but
really?
Yeah. We had a bad experience at Key West. These Polish guys kept screwing up the wake on our jet ski tour. So we had some times where we were about 4 or 5 foot off the water.
Ooh.
Like 65 miles an hour. Yeah, we were hauling ass.
Yeah, some of those jet skis like shit and get.
Oh, the Polish.
Ours did.
Yeah.
Oh, the Polish.
I don't know. I spent most of yesterday kayaking.
See, you could kayak on the ocean.
Yeah, but the ocean's full of monsters.
That's true. Well, we've went over this in the last podcast.
Yeah.
The blobfish is out there.
Yeah.
Hey, I had a track meet and I finished Tim Grover's book yesterday. I love in it how it says LeBron is not a cleaner. So that's all I needed.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because with Tim Grover, LeBron wouldn't be handicapped for the rest of his life.
Yeah. True.
He has a new book coming out I need to get.
Never going to be the same after a high ankle sprain.
I mean, Brett Favre broke his leg and still played. I mean, it's whatever.
A lot of drugs too, Steve.
You're telling me LeBron can't afford drugs?
Brett Favre took a lot of pride in being on opiates, sending dick pics to reporters. Man,
LeBron doesn't send enough dick pics to reporters to play.
Brett Favre, noted, not a good guy.
And Kobe tore his ACL or his Achilles and walked back onto the court.
Matter of fact, the Green Bay Packers were thrilled when Aaron Rodgers got hurt in that Chicago game because they were like, "Oh shit, we can use the last of the Brett Favre kit."
Load him up, Toradol.
We have to get rid of all of this.
And then Ohio State called him for that hit on Fields. That was the last of it.
That's where he was in that tent. They were waiting for that shipment to show up.
Yeah, they were like, we're waiting for the Green Bay Packers to give us the rest of that Toradol.
And we need all of it. It's fine if your left eye droops down a little bit. It's fine. It's whatever.
He comes out like Peter Griffin in that episode. He has a stroke.
Well, Lois, why are you giving me it to my stroke hand? This is my hand.
Oh, my God.
Why? How long was I in the stem cell research? About 5 minutes. Why are we not funding this?
Like walks in, walks out. Oh man.
All right, is that enough?
I think we
This was good.
All right. Blouses and Joe Rogan knows more than Dr. Fauci.
Blouses.
Blouses.